All right, kids. Today, your dad's going to show you something really cool in math. But first, if you are new here, hi, I'm Holden. Welcome to my channel, where I create videos for my future children to watch, to learn from, and possibly to laugh at. If you're interested in joining me on this journey, please consider subscribing down below. I very much appreciate it. Now, for a bit of background, kids, in case you didn't know, your dad loves math. So much so, in fact, that he decided to major in math in college and has been working for quite some time now as a math tutor. Okay, but enough about me. Today I want to introduce you to emirps. What is an emirp, you ask, my dear Watson? Well, put simply, an emirp is a prime number that is also prime when written backwards. So examples include numbers like 13, 17, 31, and 37, which when they're written backwards look like that. Cool, right? Now, my astute viewers may have noticed that the word emirp is actually just the word prime written backwards. Yeah, mathematicians can be a bit cheeky sometimes. Anyway, let me just give you a quick refresher on what a prime number is. So a prime number is simply a number that only has two divisors, the number 1 and the number itself. So examples of primes include 3, 5, 7, not 9, but 11, and so on. Examples of numbers that are not primes, otherwise known as composite numbers, are numbers such as 4, 6, 8, 9, because all these numbers have divisors besides 1 and themselves. Now, the reason why primes are oftentimes such a favorite of mathematicians is, well, for a few reasons actually. So one reason is that prime numbers are actually the building blocks of the entire number system, the whole number system, as enshrined in the fundamental theorem of arithmetic, which basically says that every whole number can be uniquely factored as a product of primes. In other words, the factor trees that you learned as a young budding mathematician, or will learn in the future. And yet, prime numbers remain so mysterious to us. For example, even though we know there are an infinite number of prime numbers, as of January 2025, we still do not know if there are an infinite number of twin primes. What are twin primes? They're just two primes that differ by 2. So examples include 3 and 5, 11 and 13. Yeah, we don't know if there are an infinite number of pairs of these twin primes out there. That is currently an open problem in math. So feel free to take a crack at it if you want to. Now, as a young child, I actually used to romanticize these twin primes, thinking them similar to two soulmates who, no matter how close they get to each other, will never actually be able to be with each other or next to each other, because there's always going to be a gap between them, a composite number in the way. A tragic love story, if you will. Yeah, that's what your dad used to daydream about. Do you guys do that too? Like, come up with epics in your head about the most mundane or everyday things in your life? No, just me? Okay. And then, of course, anytime we're talking about prime numbers, we cannot proceed without mentioning the elephant in the room, the Riemann hypothesis. I won't get into that in this video, but I'll just name drop it here in case you want to Google that on your own and go down that rabbit hole, which I do recommend you do. It is worth the trip, but it'll definitely take a much longer video to explain. Anyway, back to emirps. So again, an emirp is a prime number that is a prime written forward and backwards. This is not to be confused with palindromic primes, which are prime numbers that are palindromic numbers. A palindromic number is a number that is the same with its digits reversed. So palindromic primes are primes that remain the same even when its digits are reversed. Examples include 11, 101, 131. Those are all palindromic primes. Now, emirps are not palindromic primes. Emirps, yes, share some similarities with palindromic primes, But the difference is that when you reverse the digits in an emirp, it gives you a new, different prime, unlike what happens in a palindromic prime. Yeah, a slight distinction between those two types of primes, but a necessary one. Now, you might be asking yourself, with all this talk of primes, what is the point? What is the usefulness of these ideas? And well, I can point you to the Riemann hypothesis again for that, but other than that, I don't know. And there's a lesson in this, kids, which is that sometimes you can learn something just for the sake of learning it. You don't need to be motivated by any sort of practical application to learn something. In fact, that's how I usually go about my life. I love learning about anything and everything. And so I hope you, my viewers and my future children, will go about your life with a similar mentality, with this thirst for knowledge, let's say. And before we go, I would also like to point out that just like with twin primes, we do not know if there are an infinite number of emirps out there. That is also an open problem in math. So if you would like to take a crack at that, feel free. All right, guys, that concludes our little foray into the world of primes and emirps. I hope you enjoyed it and perhaps even learned something. But in any case, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you did enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing down below. And I hope you are well, wherever you may be in this world. As always, stay sharp out there. Now, if you're a bit rusty on what a prime number is, well, that's okay. You are, after all, only 1 year old and currently sitting on my lap. In the future,